Live. There we go. Hey, it took a while, but we were live. NBA DFS Preview Show, WinDailySports.com. And the first thing my man said as he came on, let's keep it rolling. You want to know why we're going to keep it rolling? Yo, Ghost, you're hot, man. You're on a streak. You're hot. You're on fire.
Never leave the table on the heater. Never leave the table on the heater. So we're coming right back. Are you
ever going to leave the table? Ever?
I don't know. Not at this point.
Time when you leave the table because it doesn't look
not
like
at this point. Definitely not at this point. I mean, we called it yesterday. We don't even need the points.
No.
Let the fishies take the points. We don't even need the points and the Suns money line.
Yeah, you don't want to be a fish.
We let
even though I like
points. We don't even need the points.
I like fish.
Chris Paul prop hit in like 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, so that was nice.
There you go. There we go.
What else did we get yesterday? We nabbed something else.
Way,
Jordan Clarkson, our pick of the day. Jordan Clarkson over 18.5 points.
By the way, Killian Hayes, he was pretty good last night.
Yeah, pretty good. I think that one worked out pretty well. Isaiah Stewart worked out pretty well.
His assist props. I know there were a few people on his assist
Joker prop. Joker worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
I think he had a good game yesterday.
All right. If he did the Curry and Embiid thing, that did okay.
I think that worked out too. I'm pretty sure Curry had an okay game yesterday.
May have been 3 assists away from a triple double. I think. Actually.
Yeah.
I think so.
About PJ Dozier. He had a good game too.
Yes.
Russell Westbrook had another triple double, just a day ending in Y.
Yes. Just a day ending in Y.
We smashed another slate. It's just a day ending in Y. Like, let's just keep it going. One thing, but before we actually get into the slate, I wanted to use the platform to talk about this, right? So I get it, Joker, and like I'm not putting before I say what I'm about to say, I'm not putting down Joker's performance from yesterday. I'm just gonna get that to the side.
You're going to say Curry MVP, aren't you? You're going to say Curry MVP. That's what you're going to say. You're going to tell me right now.
I want to give MVP. A big congratulations to Nikola Jokic for bodying Xavier Tillman and a 6'7" Kyle Anderson. Bro, come on. People are going to go and take away Curry's performance like that because, look, Joker's MVP. Why? Because he dropped 48 and 12 against Xavier Tillman and a 6'7" Kyle Anderson. Come on, that's the MVP performance.
Because he dropped 48 points on Xavier Tillman. Look, I will say this: if Curry keeps this pace up, like this ridiculous 40-point pace up for the remainder of the season, you have no choice but to give him the MVP. But that's also a really tough pace. I don't think he can do it. I think it's too much. I think it's too late. It's too late.
The man needed 2 extra overtimes, and he still didn't score more points than Curry. He had 2 extra OTs, and he still couldn't outscore Curry.
It's too late.
Okay, Warriors finished as a 7 seed, so they're still in the play-in. At the play-in,
Joel Embiid's more of an MVP than Steph Curry.
If they finish number 1 seed in the East, yes. For me, I have this.
That's where they're out right now, Ghost.
But I have this rule where if you don't finish number 1 in the East, you're automatically out of the MVP conversation.
That's kind of fair.
Automatically.
I agree. Yeah, that's fair.
It's the East. It's basically a 3.5 team conference this year.
That's fair.
This year.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, if he gets over the Nets. So, yeah,
that's the thing. It's like everyone's talking about this, and it's not. They didn't just acquire James Harden now. Like they've
had him for a while. Yeah.
They've been having James Harden. Like they had more than enough time to take that number 1 seed, and the ability to be on the court is a talent. So I don't. Harden's been injured. Katie's been injured. No. The ability to be on the court every night is a talent. So. That is not a reason. That's an excuse. So if Philly finishes first in the East, I will say that he possibly gets my vote. But considering that I just grabbed a 5th Stephen Curry ticket yesterday for MVP, I'm all in. Warriors finish as a 7 seed right now.
How many do you have?
Yeah, 5th.
Excuse me, one more time.
5.
You grabbed a 5th Steph Curry MVP ticket.
5 Sank Chingwe.
Are you okay?
5.
Are you all right?
In 5 different languages. 5.
Did you just actually do that in 5 different languages?
Yeah.
Wow.
5.
That's impressive, man.
5 tickets.
I didn't know you could do that.
5th yesterday.
That's actually the most impressive thing you're going to do today. And you're going to give us a huge winning slate.
I grabbed my 5th, and then it was like I had 4, and then and then Mike tagged me on Twitter saying Steph Curry's at plus 2,000. Would you take him? He knew that I would obviously take him, so I went and I grabbed the fifth.
I feel like this is already wrapped up, though.
Warriors,
I feel like this has been wrapped up for Jokic for a while now.
But Warriors finish as a 7 seed. Let's say hypothetically, Warriors finish as a 7 seed. Not playoff spot confirmed, but top of the play-in rounds. Is Steph Curry your MVP?
No.
7 seed.
No. It's Jokic.
Why?
Like,
why?
Well, no.
Why is Jokic MVP?
It's I don't think so. I'm still under
I
the
get it.
assumption
The stats are like anybody
MVP,
and anybody that could read the box score, like everyone sees Jokic's stats. Like, give me something that's like a compelling argument that is Joker's MVP over Steph Curry. Because if we get can't we
say the same thing about Embiid's numbers though? Because he's the 50% from the floor, over 40%.
Well, that's it, right? Like all these guys, that's it. Like everybody has stats that they benefit themselves, right? So it's like there's more to it than stats, because if it comes down to stats, well then how are you going to ignore that Stephen Curry just broke like 60 NBA records in the past week?
Yeah, but I guess my counterpoint to that is, and Steph Curry's been playing well all season, but obviously not at this level.
Yeah,
he's been doing it for a large stretch of games, so that's great. But like you don't get an MVP award for a stretch. Like if he can keep this up, that's what I'm saying. If he could keep hitting 10 threes a game and scoring 40 points, then yeah, I agree with you. If you want to take your chance on that, and maybe that's worth the chance at that money, which I think you're right. But I think he's going to win it and keep up that pace of 10 threes, 40 points a game? I don't think so. I can't put money down on an MVP just because of a really great historic stretch of games. I'm doing it based on an entire sample size. True. And so, I mean, Jokic, to me, I feel like the writers have already pretty much etched it in stone that Nikola Jokic is going to win. And I just, is it the right thing to do? No, because I think Joel Embiid's being docked way too many points for just missing. I mean, he missed a few games, but it wasn't like he missed an entire couple months or something, or half the season.
Yeah, like KD missed 2 months in his last recent stretch, and now he's out again.
Right.
And James Harden's been out when they rushed him back from that hamstring injury. He's been out for 2 weeks at least, minimum.
Yeah,
him too.
It's a little. I just think it's a little too late, and the only way that it can happen is if this goes long. Like if this continues for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, like if it goes pretty.
I don't see, because what it would go to maybe what? It would go maybe up to 32, 33 points per game, something like that.
Yeah, probably right now he's leading the league.
He's at 31.
He just passed Bradley Beal. He just passed Bradley Beal by 0.1 points or something.
Yeah.
So,
but if it goes up to 33, 34, then yeah.
I don't know. It's just, for me, it's I have this drilled into my mind where it's the former athlete in me. Like I was saying last show, it's that if you take Curry off the Warriors, they are contending for a top 5 pick in the draft. If you take Joker off the Nuggets, they're a playoff team. That's my main thing.
That's my main thing. I don't like this. I don't like this from Glide. I don't like this.
Could argue Embiid has legit help
because I always say this.
The Sixers are the Sixers are again. This is if anything, it's sorry but not sorry, because I'm putting them as number 2, but I'm giving Embiid MVP reinforcements. So I'm going bad one way but good the other way. So I would think the Nuggets are the number 1 team out of the 3. Right, I do consider the Sixers better than the Warriors. Curry is the best individual talent out of everybody, but when we're looking at total team composition, I think the Nuggets are number 1 with the 76ers number 2 and Warriors out of the 3 out of that 3-man group. Right, so the only thing with that is that you could say that Embiid has help, okay, but Joker doesn't have help.
Right, I only put it up there because
the Nuggets are way deeper than Philly.
Right, but that's why I put it up there, because all I hear about the Sixers is, well, you have Joel, but Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons aren't good enough. Seth Curry and Danny Green aren't good enough.
These are the same Tobias Harrises and Ben Simmons that people go and they're like, Ben Simmons is not Defensive Player of the Year. Tobias Harris is washed up.
Right, that's what I mean. Everybody wants to say Embiid has help, but then also tell me the Sixers are terrible. Yeah,
it doesn't work. You can't say, the 76ers are getting bounced second round because Tobias Harris sucks. Oh, but Embiid's not MVP because Tobias Harris is helping him. Okay, well, you got to pick a lane. Like you can't end up saying both. So I definitely agree with you there. And it's just, the Curry versus Embiid case. Like it's definitely Embiid has the better team. For me, it's case closed. If you don't finish number one in the East, you're not MVP. Like period.
I can agree. That absolutely I can agree with.
That to me is like there's nobody or nothing that could change my mind about like people talking about Giannis or whoever else. Like we could talk about James Harden, but to me, if you don't win, if you can't win the East, you're not MVP. Period. That's it. Yeah. So for me, it's just it comes down to Embiid right now. Sixers are number one, and I think they will finish with that number one seed. So it comes down to Embiid, Joker, and Curry for me. It seems like Embiid's getting the short end of the stick just because of I don't even want to say the amount of games that he missed. It makes it sound like he missed a third of the season. He really hasn't.
Right, exactly. That's why the Joel Embiid thing is weird to me because I know he missed time, but it's not like, again, he didn't miss a third of the season.
And you look at their stats with him off the floor, they are atrocious. They lost to a Portland Trailblazer team that needed to call up 4 guys from the G League to fill out a roster, and they lost. They didn't forget about covering spreads. Where this is DFS and a sports betting show. We're not talking about covering spreads. We're not talking about anything. We're not talking about totals. They lost outright to a G League team and Gary Trent Jr. Like if that doesn't explain what an MVP is, then I don't know what is. You take Curry off the Warriors, they are contending for Cade Cunningham in the draft. Oh, yeah. They're literally they can possibly get Cade Cunningham in the draft. Yeah. Their roster is that bad right now. So it's just I find that more valuable than Joker going. And for me, it was just he's making a strong case. I get it, but to use that game, coming back to my original point before we kind of went left, right, center, like I always do. I'm really bad with that, but I kind of going left, right, center all over the place. But
I'm not helping out.
Coming back to my original point, to make the case that Nikola Jokic is MVP based on last night's performance is I can't even put an adjective to it. It doesn't. He bodied Xavier Tillman. Okay, and a 6'7" Kyle Anderson. If he didn't drop 50 and 10, that was case closed that he is not MVP. Embiid goes out there against Washington and drops 50 points in 13 seconds. He takes these matchups and just bodies people. It doesn't even make sense. He's laughing on the court. If Joker didn't go out there and do that would have been bad. So for me, it's I get it. He had a great night, but it's just to use that performance as banging the gavel, it's case closed. Nikola Jokic is MVP for what? Because he bodied a backup Memphis frontcourt and a 6'7" Kyle Anderson. Yeah, I don't get it. That to me is just.
There is a part of this, right, where I think Jokic is just kind of boring, right? He doesn't feel like an MVP.
Centers don't win MVP.
But the thing is with Joel Embiid is he is exciting. At least there is excitement. There is, every single night. Somebody and a large portion of the NBA is tuning in to see Joel Embiid, to see Steph Curry. And don't give me this, Jokic is in Denver. No, Steph Curry is in a market that largely nobody gave an S about before he got there and started winning a bunch of games. So it's the market doesn't matter.
People that say that they were watching the Warriors
is doing things that we have almost never seen a 7-foot center do, and he's putting the numbers behind it. Steph Curry is doing things that we've almost never seen on a court done before, and the numbers back it up too. He
changed the game.
It's exciting.
He literally he revolutionized basketball.
Oh yeah,
he completely changed the game. So it's just, for me, it's I don't know. I just think of all of them have pros and cons about their stats. You're going to say,
they do.
Curry leads in threes. He's setting all these records. Okay. Embiid's going out there, double machine and just high percentage from the floor. Okay. Joker's got a 3-point shot too on top of that. Okay. Everybody has pros and cons. I get that. But I just look at, for me, the biggest differentiator is that if you take Curry off the Warriors, they're competing for a top 5 pick in that draft. Whereas Philly and Denver are,
I think Sixers would be probably 7th, 8th seed.
I still think they make the playoffs.
They would make the playoffs. Oh yeah.
I do, and that too, you could chalk it up to a weaker conference. But again, it's just making the playoffs.
They would be the Andre Iguodala Sixers if Joel Embiid wasn't on the floor.
It's just that's what it is. So
they would make the playoffs, but only by default because the rest of the team stink.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just, to me, it's I'm gonna be Team Curry every single show. It's Team Steph Curry for MVP. I got 5 tickets now, so
all right.
We need Curry to pull for MVP here.
I think we're getting all the DFS questions here. Look at this.
I love this slate. I like it.
Really?
So you have to get me fired up to start talking about this slate.
So first of all, before we get into, we have players, favorite players on tonight's slate. Fox, Kyrie, Cat tonight. So a couple of things people want to know. I just want to first start out with a general 5-game slate, and I think you put it really well in your Ghost Gems article, windailysports.com. Check it out, windailysports.com/chat. You can also join the Discord where Ghost will be at right after this. But you said in your Ghost Gems article, and it was great. You're still doing what you do in a large slate, even for a small one, kind of planting your flag on one of these games or, wherever you want to, and narrowing down the player pool to kind of give you an advantage. And I want you to elaborate on that because I thought it was really well said on how to navigate, because we just had a large slate, how to navigate now a smaller one.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It means a lot. So to me, it's just, I like to share my strategy too. It's not just about, hey, who is he picking?
Right, who's the best
individual plays?
Yeah,
like it's just
exactly.
To me, that it completely takes away the fun in DFS. The fun for me is okay. To some people, they're gonna say, "Oh my god, this guy's a freak." But the fun to me is the research and the analytics behind it, and actually watching games. And just because I'm a sports fanatic, right? And I watch a ton of games, and I'll be that guy that will turn on a Minnesota Sacramento game because I love watching De'Aaron Fox and I like watching D'Angelo Russell and guys like this, right? So to me, it's just the process behind it is so much more important than just saying, oh, hey, yesterday we nailed Nikola Jokic, we nailed Russell Westbrook, we nailed Steph Curry and Embiid, we nailed, the value plays were hot. To me, it was just, it's not about that. To me, it's just, understanding the process and what it takes to actually win some serious money in DFS. So I always go through the same process, and that's, I don't even look at the slate itself. I don't open DraftKings. I don't open FanDuel. For Yahoo players, I don't open Yahoo and Super Draft, any site. I just look at the games themselves, and I have some data that's integrated in our proprietary projections at Win Daily Sports, of course. So stuff like how many possessions is a team going to get? How many times is this offensive unit of 5 guys running up and down the court and getting chances on the offensive end? Something like that for me is huge. Okay, then you could break down individual plays. Let's say, for example, a team is projected for 100 possessions, but you have another team that's 105. Well, to me, it's just you get 5 extra possessions on for a team that's there. It's an easy decision for me to make. You get 5 extra chances to score on offense, 5 extra chances to get a rebound, 5 extra chances to get an assist, anything like that. We're talking about, well, if I give you 1 lottery ticket versus 5, which one would you take? You're obviously going to take the more chances that you get, right? So is that player going to produce in those 5 possessions? I don't know. He could go 0 for 5 easily, but it's process over results in the sense that if a player is going to take 20 shots, I want exposure to it. That's where we end up translating those stats to individual plays. We're going to talk about Kyrie Irving for me tonight. To me, it's just, if you don't make a lineup with Kyrie Irving.
I see Fox, Kyrie, Cat, and then also here as well, CJ, Kyrie, and Cantor. So Kyrie seems to be one definitely tonight.
It's the easiest play on the slate for me. If Kyrie busts tonight, which he won't, we're on a heater. We're keeping it going here. Train's going to keep on rolling. It's just, if you don't play Kyrie tonight, I can't trust you. I simply can't elaborate that on more than that.
Is it a little bit of the pricing too, because he's not one of the 10K guys? This is,
well, that's it. It's like
you're getting a little bit of value at the top.
That's it. Tell me right now, you wouldn't pay $11,000 for Kyrie Irving tonight. Right? I'll elaborate that into a bit of a longer question. Bradley Beal is out. Russell Westbrook is at 11K. Are you playing him? So now you have Kyrie Irving in the best matchup that he could possibly get. New Orleans ranks dead last in the NBA against primary ball handlers, allowing over 50 fantasy points per game on top of that. Bottom 5 in assist rate, bottom 5 in scoring. It's just,
and he's 2K cheaper than what Bradley Beal
he gets the best matchup on the slate that he can possibly get, and he is $1,100 cheaper than we would play Russell Westbrook in a spot like this. To me, it's just the easiest play on the slate. He can score at will tonight. He can dish the rock as much as he wants to. He's going to be able to grab rebounds because their entire front court is out. So it's just, to me, it's like I don't understand how you don't play Kyrie Irving tonight. So I'm happy to see that everybody's locking him in there. And on top of that, it gives you a ton of flexibility. You want to play him with Fox? Well, you can slide in Kyrie Irving as shooting guard. He's point guard and shooting guard eligible now. So it's amazing there. You have a ton of flexibility on DraftKings. And on FanDuel, he's even cheaper. He's $9,400. Don't even think about it. You got to play Kyrie tonight. That's exactly where I'm starting my lineups 100%. And we're talking about games where We're looking at elite game environments. We're looking at fast pace. We're looking at high totals. We're looking at bad defense combined with fast pace.
Pretty much all these games. So when you are talking about, narrowing down your player pool, I guess what games did you decide? All right, that's it. I mean, we can go everywhere because you're right. I mean, or Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte, New York, Brooklyn, New Orleans, Minnesota, and Sacramento. There are a ton of games to do it with, but which ones are you attacking the most? So you can narrow it down and kind of get your edge on the slate.
For me, it's Brooklyn, New Orleans, and Minnesota, Sacramento. Those are the two for me. They stand above the rest by a mile. Like, it's not even close. So. Yeah. On top of that, that's when I look at individual plays, and my favorite plays on the slate are in these games. So it kind of reinforces the thought that, not only am I, because, at some point you have to end up making the tough decision on a game like tonight where Kyrie's in an elite game environment, but let's say Westbrook was without Beal in another game, but he's playing Orlando, or he's playing the Knicks, or he's playing, the Pistons, right? These really slow playing teams. Do you play Westbrook or do you play Kyrie in a better game environment? Like, at that would be a legit question to have. Russell Westbrook's going out there and triple doubling every night, but for me, it's always I will take the elite game environment over the elite individual player when you take them outside of that game environment, right? So for me, it's always I attack game environments first, and then I attack individual plays, right? So Kyrie being in the number one game environment for me on the entire slate just reinforces the fact that I'm locking him in. And then on the other side, Brandon Ingram is quietly having a very good second half of the season for the Pelicans, right? So ever since the NBA All-Star break, both he and Zion are pretty much dropping 30 a game. Like, it's no one else is really touching the ball out there. Steven Adams, we already talked about this in our season preview show as well. Steven Adams is not there to score. Eric Bledsoe is on the tail end of his career. He's not there to score. He's there to mentor and, end up picking up some minutes if Lonzo gets injured, or so they can try and squeak into an 8 seed, which right now it doesn't look like they're going to do that, which is exactly what we said on the preview show as well. But coming back to Brandon Ingram, it's just this guy's going out there and he's dropping pretty much 30 a game since the second half of the NBA All-Star break. So you don't have to look too far other than Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson to get exposure to the other side of this one other than Brooklyn, right? And then you look at Brooklyn tonight where you're going to say, oh man, I wish I could play Harden. I wish I could play KD. It's value city out there now. LaMarcus Aldridge retired, right? You have no KD, you have no Harden. This puts guys like Bruce Brown into play, guys like Joe Harris, guys like Landry Shamet, Elias Johnson, DeAndre Jordan. You end up getting a ton of guys that they're all under $4,000 and they're going to get 20 plus minutes. Nick Claxton is out tonight on top of that. So, people that end up worrying about DeAndre Jordan's minutes or Jeff Green's minutes or Elias Johnson's minutes, if one of these guys don't get minutes, it's because Claxton comes in. Well, he's out. Because, a random game from Tyler Johnson, he's out. Chris Chiozza could get some minutes. He's out. Like, KD and Harden are both out. Like, it's just, they're down to such a thin rotation that all these guys have to play. They all have to play at least some shape or form of minutes. So I'm going to have plenty of exposure to this one altogether in both the form of value plays and top end plays. You want to play Brandon Ingram and Zion, I'm definitely not going to say no. Zion's a little bit expensive, but again, Brooklyn has no interior. So if there's ever a game for him to go 15 for 16 from the field and make 14 dunks out of 15 shots, it's a game like this. Brandon Ingram's been balling out. You end up getting a bit of a saving there if you want to go him over Zion, but Kyrie's a lock for me, and I'm definitely getting some Brooklyn exposure in the form of some value plays there.
Yeah, Minnesota, Sacramento is another one you mentioned there. Is that where I know we have Kyrie, but is this where we maybe go for a little bit of a higher price player in Fox and Towns, or is this one you're trying to look for more of the upside as well?
No, if I'm getting exposure to this one, I want the guys at the top. So I want Karl Anthony Towns. I want De'Aaron Fox. Anthony Edwards kind of is in that tier 2 group from this game. But for me, it's Towns and Fox. If you want to play Hassan Whiteside, he's pretty sneaky tonight on a slate like this too, because he finally started last game, and Towns cannot play defense, and Minnesota is bottom 5 in every single statistical category that involves the paint. So whether it's rebounding, whether it's defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding, points allowed in the paint, blocks allowed in the paint, anything at all, Minnesota's bottom 5 in every single category there. So Hassan Whiteside ends up having some sneaky appeal, but only reason why I'm not playing him tonight is because you have Enes Kanter out there in Portland, which that's the only other game that we're going to talk about tonight. Enes Kanter is filling in for Jusuf Nurkic, who is out for injury management. Again, we laughed about that last show. It's not load management anymore. It's injury management. So Josip Nurkic being out there, Enes Kanter only 6,100 versus Hassan at 58 kind of makes my mind up there. But again, Hassan Whiteside very sneaky, but I want all the De'Aaron Fox that I could get. If I could find a way to fit Brandon Ingram or Zion with Kyrie and De'Aaron Fox, that's where I'm starting my builds. There's more than enough value on the slate, especially on the Brooklyn side.
Yeah, and so you wanted to go to that Portland game, Portland against the Clippers. Basically, you're going with Kanter here, right?
Yeah, very, very tough for me to get away from it as Kanter if you end up going in the mid-range. Most of the time when you end up going three studs like Kyrie, Fox, and whether it's Brandon Ingram or Zion, you likely won't be able to fit somebody in that 5.5 to 6K range. But if you go with Brandon Ingram, I'm pretty sure you can. So that's where I would end up slotting in Enes Kanter as my number 4 guy. Look, he's just gonna eat out there. He's a guy that, last game he started, he dropped 27 rebounds, 27 points and 27 rebounds, something like that. So it was absolutely absurd the last time that he started. I'm not chasing that game. I'm just, again, I put that one in the back of my mind. It's more so just that LA can't defend the inside right now. No Serge Ibaka hurts them a lot. And again, CJ McCollum, we're gonna go right back to the well here. So this is a slate where his ownership really intrigues me. Price went up just a little bit on DraftKings. Really wasn't much. Like it pretty much didn't move, but it went up just enough for people to say, "Oh, I'm paying almost 9K. I'm pretty much paying 9K for CJ McCollum. It's too much." Why? Why is that too much? Why is it too much? You're playing the primary ball handler against the Clippers. We love to play primary ball handlers against the Clippers. No, yes, Patrick Beverley on the other side. This is a competitive game environment. And do people forget that these two organizations absolutely despise one another? Like, I get it. I would love if Damian Lillard were playing in this one. If Damian Lillard were playing in this one, I'd contemplate stocking this game over over the other two, just because you have Dame with a wave goodbye, sending home LA, and Paul George absolutely erupted last game against them. And when Paul George turned around the season, it was this game that got him fired up, and he's been on a tear ever since. So the one thing that ends up worrying me about this game, it would not surprise me in the least to see the Clippers rule out one of Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. But at that point, it just makes this one even more interesting. You could get a nice McCollum Kanter with one of Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, a 1-2-3 stack there. It has some really sneaky appeal, especially for large field tournaments where, probably the majority of people are going to go with Kyrie. They're going to go with Fox. They're going to go with Towns. They're going to end up going to these higher price guys. You could end up getting a ton of savings there where, you don't have to completely punt your entire lineup when you go with Enes Kanter, CJ McCollum, and one of Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. So it's definitely a different strategy to go tonight, but I do have some interest in it. And CJ McCollum, man, I don't get it. The ownership was pretty much 2 or 3 times what it was last slate than it is tonight. It's the exact same spot. No Dame. He's in an even better matchup. You play primary ball handlers against LA when Patrick Beverley is out. It's as juicy as a matchup as it gets right now. So I have some very high interest in CJ McCollum in a spot like this.
So maybe we can try and figure it out to see how it would work. But Brandon Ingram, Kyrie, Fox, Kanter, Cat, does that fit? I think that's the one. Karl Anthony Towns.
I don't think
maybe you're going a little bit too much. Yeah.
It's Towns at the end that really ends up killing it.
Let's just take it. But I think you can definitely make something work. And especially with the plays that you were saying in New Orleans and Brooklyn, that this can work. Basically.
Yeah, that's it. So like if you end up going Kyrie with Brandon Ingram or Zion, and you could fit Zion in that build. If we take out Brandon Ingram and you put Zion, it'll fit just fine. So you could end up going Zion there, and then we'll actually show people how much salary they have left over. At power forward, if we go Zion, we should be just fine. So 3,600 per, it's more than enough. More than enough. Yeah. You could do it. It's very, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's more than enough. You could do it. There's so much value. Guys like Elijah Johnson. You end up moving Fox to the guard spot. You could fit DeAndre Jordan in there at 3,900. And DeAndre Jordan's not even a bad play. He's probably one of the top value plays in the entire model right now, right? So DeAndre Jordan's a great play, and he's 3,900. That's a guy that you're putting in one of the top value plays as your number 5 pick. Like, at that point, you don't care what the other 3 guys do. You're doing it to get these 5 guys in, right? So, look, is this 100% going to be the strategy that I take? I don't know. Maybe I end up going Brandon Ingram instead. Maybe I come off Fox and I end up going CJ McCollum. But this is the build right here. You have Kyrie with one of the Pelicans, whether it's Brandon Ingram or Zion, one of them's going to go off. You need exposure to this game. 239.5 over under tonight. You got to get a piece of it on both sides. So Brandon Ingram or Zion with Kyrie. And Enes Kanter is really, really interesting. And then you go one of De'Aaron Fox or CJ McCollum.
Yeah,
that for me is the build. It's that right there. So I hadn't even decided before I come on the show. I'm deciding it right now. That's
CJ McCollum's
for me.
A little bit cheaper shooting guard as well too. So
that's De'Aaron it. Fox, so you end up giving options.
Yeah, exactly. Does this give you a little bit more options now? Because then you could fit the DeAndre Jordan play in your utility as your fifth option, and then kind of build from there.
That's it, exactly. So this is the difference between, let's say in that last build you have 3,400 per. That's the difference between playing somebody like Elijah Johnson and Landry Shamet in a build like this, right? So if you need that reassurance when you're building that, hey, I want a guy with a little bit of a safer floor. Granted, both players probably have similar ceilings. A lot of the value plays tonight do, right? You can't really say, oh, Jeff Green's gonna pop off versus Blake Griffin. Well, to be honest, like either one of them can pop off. It really depends who's hot. That's the guy that's gonna get the most minutes alongside DeAndre Jordan, right? So a lot of these players are interchangeable in that sense. Whereas if you need that extra reassurance where you're like, I don't know if I want to go with Elijah Johnson. I'd rather get up to Landry Shamet, who's 4 straight games with 20 or more points. I'll end up playing Landry Shamet instead. Okay, no problem. Then that's when you could go CJ McCollum or De'Aaron Fox. And as long as you're okay with that 2v2 switch that you end up making, the build ends up working just fine. So this is a spot where, again, it's a very crystal clear slate. I'm locking in Kyrie no matter what. My second guard is going to be either CJ McCollum or De'Aaron Fox. My third player is going to be one of Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson. And if you could fit Enes Kanter, great. Don't feel the need to absolutely lock him in. If you want to go with another player in the mid-range, by all means, go ahead. But you need a mid-range player. And then if you're not going Kanter, you could go DeAndre Jordan at center.
Awesome. I think that's a great.
You put Jordan at utility. You go both. There's so many different options, but that's essentially where I'm going right now.
So we do have one lineup we'll go over, and then we'll wrap things up here. Kyrie, Simmons, Brown, Hall, DJ Fox, Alizé, and Cat.
I like it. The one thing that I don't know if I'm playing Karl Anthony Towns tonight. That's the only thing. I have exposure to him at the book, so I did take his player prop tonight. Over 17.5 rebounds and assists for Karl Anthony Towns. So I have exposure to him there. You can check that out at
windailysports.com, by the way. Yeah. Along with those other plays, some MLB and NHL plays that you can check.
Yeah. So I ended up getting exposure to him there. I don't know if I'm going to play him in DFS. It's a great spot for him. It really, really is. He's going to dominate down low. Paying 10.6 is really hard for me, honestly, like this, because I want Kyrie, I want Zion or Brandon Ingram. And I want CJ McCollum, and you can't fit the 4 of them together. So that's where it's like, you know what? If I have to end up dropping CJ McCollum for Karl Anthony Towns, I would do exactly what you did right here, Glad. And that you get Anthony Simmons, you get a Carmelo Anthony, you get Norman Powell, like one of those guys. You get Kanter in your lineup. Like if you're not playing McCollum, you need at least one piece of those guys that I just mentioned. It's CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, Enes Kanter, and Melo, like and Anthony Simmons. If you're going all the way down, those 5 guys, like you would need some form of exposure to this Portland offense, because they're one of the most electric offenses in the entire league, right? They're going to score tonight. No Patrick Beverley on the other side, no Serge Ibaka. LA is vulnerable all over the court. You got to end up doing it. So I do plan on having exposure there. So I like this lineup. You don't have McCollum. You got exposure to Anthony Simmons. Cat is the biggest X factor. If he ends up popping off for a Jokic type game like he did yesterday, it could win you some serious money.
WinDailySports.com is where you can check out all of this. Real quick, Cole Anthony, anything there?
Cash only, no GBP. So I ended up writing up Cole Anthony real quick. I ended up writing him up. He's going to play 30 minutes tonight. No Michael Carter-Williams for Orlando again. They're pretty much a depleted roster, just going through a rebuild right now. Shipped out Evan Fournier, Aaron Gordon, and Vooch out of town. So he's going to play 30 minutes. He has a safe floor, especially on FanDuel, where you're playing 2 point guards over there for cash games. On DK, I don't know if it's absolutely necessary, but if you're looking to that mid-range, guys like him, guys like Kanter, that's where I would start my cash games, because they have safe floors. Whereas all these value plays tonight, a guy like Elijah Johnson, a guy like Bruce Brown, like they could really, really let you down, right? So that's where you end up going with Cole Anthony, Cantor. These are guys that are going to be involved in the offense. So I'm okay with it for cash. For GBP, I'm out though. I can't fit him in my builds.
Love it. WinDailySports.com. Hey, if you want more, if you have a lineup that you want to check out, or you have a question on a player like our friend just did, well, you can check out WinDailySports.com, WinDailySports.com/chat. Ghost will be there hanging out with you a little bit, helping you set lineups. It's a heckin' good time with my man Ghost. You can follow him, by the way, at DFS_Ghost. He is a great follow. He gives out great NBA plays for free. So guess what? Give him a free follow. Just follow him and, talk some NBA with him. It'll be a great time. My name is Jon Jansen. Follow me at JJansen34. I just sit here and try and tee up some good questions for Ghost. But if you want some shenanigans, MLB plays, I do at JJansen34. That's it for the NBA DFS Preview Show, WinDailySports.com.